Morning comes slowly over the African savanna. The grass is cool at first, then it begins to shimmer in the heat. Birds call from the acacias, insects hum in the light, and somewhere out in the open country, hooves, paws, and snorts all leave their own little marks on the day. This is a place where every animal notices every other animal, and where even a small change can mean trouble. In this episode, we're spending time with one of the savanna's most scrappy survivors, the warthog. We'll follow it through grasslands, thorny woodland, and muddy waterholes, where lions, hyenas, crocodiles, and more all share the same dry land. It's a story of nerves, speed, sharp instincts, and a whole lot of looking over your shoulder. If you're watching along, say hello in the comments and tell us where you're joining from. The grass can look peaceful from a distance. Soft light, a few birds calling, maybe a breeze moving through the stems. But out here, every rustle matters. A pig-shaped shadow lifts its head, snorts once, and the whole mood changes. This is the warthog, one of the savanna's toughest small survivors. Warthogs live across much of sub-Saharan Africa, in open grasslands, woodland edges, and near waterholes. They may look a little comic at first glance, but they are built for hard country and hard choices. Look closely, and you'll see why they stand out. Warthogs have large heads, raised bumps on the face, and those curved tusks that flash when they turn. Their bodies are lean and wiry, with a ridge of bristly hair along the back, and a tail that sticks up like a little antenna when they run. They are not graceful runners in the usual sense, but they are quick when they need to be, and they know how to make use of that speed. A warthog's face tells its own story. The two pairs of tusks are really modified teeth, and the lower pair can be especially useful in a fight. They are not there for show, they are tools. Warthogs dig with their snouts and hooves, and they use those tusks to defend themselves if a predator comes too close. The face also has a rough, tough look because of the pads and swellings that help protect it during scraps and when they kneel to feed. Their skin is thin in some places, and they do not have much in the way of body hair, so they are very aware of the sun, the dust, and the insects. You'll often see them rolling in mud or dust. That is not just messy behavior. It helps cool them off and can help keep biting pests away. In a place as hot as the African savanna, that kind of simple trick matters. What makes a warthog so easy to recognize is the way all these parts come together. The low body, the upright tail, the bristly mane, the face with its odd, powerful expression. They look like they were designed for speed, defense, and digging all at once. And that is exactly what they need. Most of the day, warthogs are busy eating and staying alert. They graze on grass when it is fresh and green, and they also dig up roots, bulbs, and other plant parts when food is harder to find. Their snout is like a little shovel, and they can kneel on their front legs to get at short grass close to the ground. That kneeling posture is one of the classic warthog sights on the savanna. It looks awkward, but it works. They are often seen moving with a nervous kind of confidence. Head down to feed, then a sudden lift to scan the grass. Feed again. Look again. They do not wander blindly. They keep one eye on the ground and one eye on the danger that can slip out of tall grass or a tree line. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and cheetahs can all be a threat, especially to the young or the unwary. Warthogs are not long-distance marathon animals. They live by knowing their home ground well. In the heat of the day, they may rest in shade or retreat to burrows, often ones made by aardvarks or other diggers. Those burrows are a big part of their survival. They give shelter from the sun, from danger, and from the worst of the weather. Some families even use the same burrow over and over again, backing in so they can bolt out fast if needed. They can also be surprisingly lively when they run. If a warthog spots trouble, it often takes off with its tail straight up, like a little flag. That tail may look funny, but it helps the family keep track of each other in the grass. The piglets follow the adults, trying to stay close to safety. It is a small detail, but out here, small details can mean everything. Warthogs usually live in family groups, especially females with their young. Males may be more solitary or move around on their own. The family groups are not huge and complicated, but they do offer a bit of security. Young warthogs stay close to the mother, and when danger comes, that bond matters. A mother warthog will defend her piglets fiercely if she has to. She may stand her ground, charge, or use those tusks to ward off an attacker. There is also a good deal of communication in the family, even if it is not loud or fancy. They grunt, snort, and give alarm signals. Body posture matters too. A raised head can mean caution. A quick burst of movement can mean alarm. And when things calm down, they settle back into the simple business of feeding and watching. Their lives may seem plain from far away, but up close, they are full of constant decisions. Warthogs also play an important role in the savanna. By digging and rooting, they stir the soil and help open up patches of ground. Their feeding can make room for new growth, and that helps other animals in small but real ways. They are also food for bigger hunters, which makes them part of the chain that keeps this place working. If warthogs were to disappear from an area, the change would be felt both in the grass and in the predators that depend on them. They are not among the most threatened animals in Africa, but they still face pressure from habitat loss and hunting in some places. The good news is that warthogs do fairly well in many protected areas where grassland and woodland are still intact. Keep those places healthy, and the warthogs usually keep doing what they have always done: digging, feeding, dodging danger, and raising the next generation. There is something deeply down to earth about a warthog. Not graceful, not flashy, just built to get through another hot, risky day on the savanna. And somehow, that makes them easy to admire. If you watch long enough, you start to see how much courage is packed into that strange little face. A giraffe changes the whole feel of the savanna. Everything else seems to stay low to the ground, but this tall animal lifts its head into a world of its own. In the heat's shimmer, it can look almost unreal at first, like a moving patch of sky and shadow. Giraffes live across many parts of Africa, including open grasslands and acacia country like this one. They are the tallest land animals on Earth, and that height shapes nearly everything they do. At first glance, a giraffe seems built like a puzzle. Long legs, long neck, small head with huge eyes. But every part has a job. Those long legs let it cover ground, with a smooth, easy walk that can turn into a surprising run when needed. Its neck helps it reach leaves other grazers cannot touch, especially high in thorny trees. The coat is just as eye-catching. Each giraffe wears its own pattern of dark patches, and no two are exactly alike. The markings help it blend in with the broken light of the woodland. From a distance, the animal can fade into the pale trunks and dappled shade. Up close, the pattern looks almost like somebody painted it by hand with broad, careful strokes. That head carries a pair of short, furry horns called ossicones. They are used in fights between males, and you can sometimes see the scars of those battles. The tongue is another wonder. It is long, strong and dark, handy for pulling leaves around thorns without getting jabbed too badly. Giraffes can handle the sharp acacia browse better than most animals here, though not without care. Most of the time, a giraffe is a calm browser. It moves slowly from tree to tree, picking leaves, buds, and tender shoots. It often feeds with the head raised high, then swings the neck down for a drink when it reaches water. That moment at a water hole is risky, because a giraffe has to spread its legs wide and lower its head far enough to sip. It is awkward, and it leaves the animal exposed. Giraffes do not chew grass like zebras or buffalo. They are browsers, not grazers. That means they help shape the woodland by taking leaves from the tops of shrubs and trees, which can affect how plants grow back. They also spread seeds in their droppings, helping new plants travel across the landscape. Their daily routine is simple, but not easy. Feed, walk, watch. A giraffe is always alert. Those big eyes can spot danger from a long way off, whether it is a lion in the grass or hyenas moving through the brush. If trouble comes close, the giraffe relies on long legs and a powerful kick. A well-aimed kick can do serious damage. Giraffes are not usually loud animals, but they do communicate in quiet ways. Much of their talk is body language: a lifted head, a tail flick, a turn of the ear. Mothers stay close to calves, and calves learn quickly to keep up. Young giraffes are vulnerable, so a mother will watch over her calf with great care, especially in the first weeks of life. Sometimes, several giraffes gather loosely together, drifting in and out of view. They are not strict herd animals like zebras, but they often tolerate one another well. A small group feeding among acacias gives the savanna a peaceful look, even though danger may be nearby. That calm can fool you. Around here, calm is often only the surface. Giraffes matter in a simple but important way. They open up the woodland by feeding high in the trees and they help move seeds around. They also give other animals a clue that something may be wrong. If giraffes vanish from an area, it can be a sign that the habitat is changing too fast. In some places, numbers have dropped because of habitat loss and hunting, but protected areas and local conservation work are helping in a few regions. Every healthy giraffe still standing tells you something good about the land. And there is another reason people care so much about them. They are part of the identity of Africa's open country. One look, and you know where you are. A giraffe does not just live in the savanna. It helps define it. So when you watch one move through the trees, pause for a moment. There is grace there, yes, but also toughness, caution, and a life built to survive, where every meal and every drink can carry risk. The first thing you notice is the space. Wide grasslands rolling away under a hot sky with bunches of dry grass bending in the breeze and little clouds of dust lifting with every step. Here and there, thorny shrubs and scattered acacias break up the open land. In the cool of morning, the savanna can feel soft and quiet. By midday, it bakes and shimmers. This is home to many of the animals in this story, from warthogs and lions to cheetahs, hyenas, zebras, and giraffes. It's a place of easy sight lines, quick escapes, and sudden danger. Out here, every open patch of grass can feel like a stage. A quiet field at dusk can change in a heartbeat. The grass is still glowing gold, the heat is fading, and then that rough, coughing laugh rolls across the plain. It is not a sound most animals ignore for long. Out here, every call means something. The spotted hyena ranges across much of sub-Saharan Africa, including the savannas and open woodlands where warthogs try to make their living. It is one of the most common large carnivores in Africa, and it is built for patience, power, and long hours on the move. The first thing you notice is the shape. A spotted hyena does not move like a sleek cat or a lean antelope. It has a sloping back, strong shoulders, and thick front legs that make the whole body look as if it is leaning into the earth. That build is not an accident. The front half is especially powerful, made for hauling meat, traveling far, and standing its ground when another animal gets too close. The coat is sandy gray to brown, covered in dark spots that help break up its outline in the grass. Those spots are not just decoration. They make the animal harder to pick out when it is half hidden in shade. Then there is the face, broad, fierce, almost clownish for a moment, until you see the jaw. The head is wide, the ears are rounded, and the muzzle is strong. A hyena's jaws can crush hard bone, and that matters when meals are uncertain. The neck is thick, the legs look a little uneven, and yet the animal can lope for miles without seeming to tire. That odd-looking body is one of the best tools in the savanna. A spotted hyena spends much of its life on the move. It can hunt on its own, but it is also a skilled scavenger, quick to notice a carcass or the alarm of another animal. In the open country, it watches, listens, and waits for weakness. A warthog piglet straying from cover, a wounded antelope, a dead animal left behind by someone else. Nothing easy is wasted out here, and the hyena knows it. It will also run down prey over open ground when the chance comes, using stamina more than speed. That matters in a place where a burst of speed is only part of the story. Hyenas are famous for their sound, and for good reason. They do not just make one call. They grunt, giggle, whoop, and bark. The high, laughing sound can carry far across the grasslands at night. It may sound playful to us, but to other animals, it can mean trouble. A hyena that finds food may call others in, and soon a whole clan can gather. Those clans are often matriarchal, which means females hold the top spots. The females are usually larger and more dominant than the males, and the social rules are strict. Mothers raise cubs in dens, and the young stay protected for a long time before they begin learning how to find food, read danger, and stand their ground. That social life helps the hyena survive. A lone animal can manage, but a clan can defend food, pressure other predators, and protect young more effectively. And in a place like the African Savanna, competition is everywhere. Lions may try to steal a kill. Hyenas may test a lion's patience. Warthogs, zebras, and even buffalo all respond differently when those spotted shapes appear at the edge of the grass. Most of the time, the hyena is looking for an opening, not a fight. But if it has to push, it will. Spotted hyenas matter because they help clean up the landscape. They eat carrion, and that keeps dead animals from lying around for too long. They also hunt enough to keep herbivore numbers in check, especially when prey is young, weak, or careless. Remove them, and the whole food scene shifts. In many places, hyenas face pressure from habitat loss and conflict with people who see them as pests or threats to livestock. But they are still widespread, and in protected lands, they remain a hard-working part of the savanna's daily business. If the lion is the animal people fear first, the spotted hyena is the one they often misunderstand. But watch long enough, and you see an animal built for survival in a hard country. The laughs, the spots, the broad shoulders, they all tell the same story. This is an animal that knows how to live, where food never comes easy. The first clue is often the silence. A patch of grass goes still, birds lift off, and even the smaller animals seem to pause for a moment. Then a low, careful shape slips through the brush, almost melting into the shadows. This is the leopard, one of the most secretive hunters on the savanna. It lives across much of sub-Saharan Africa, from open woodland to rocky hills and river edges. And while it shares this land with lions, hyenas, and all the other big names, it often goes unseen by day. Leopards wear that beautiful coat of black rosettes on gold fur, and the pattern is not just pretty. It breaks up their outline in grass, shade, and thorny trees, making them hard to spot. Their body is built for quiet power. The head is broad, the jaws are strong, and the shoulders and legs give them a smooth, flowing stride. They can look almost lazy at rest, then move with sudden speed when they need to. One of the easiest ways to tell a leopard from a cheetah is the build. A cheetah is made for speed in open country. A leopard is more solid and compact. It has a heavier chest, a thicker neck, and a tail that can seem almost as long as the body itself. That tail helps with balance when it climbs. And climb they do. Leopards are excellent tree cats. They can haul a kill up into the branches to keep it away from scavengers. That is no small job when the meal is heavier than the cat itself. Most of a leopard's day is spent keeping to cover. It likes thick brush, river thickets, and rocky places where it can slip out of sight. It moves with patience, no wasted energy. It listens first, then watches, then waits. When it hunts, it usually relies on surprise rather than a long chase. Small antelope, birds, monkeys, young warthogs, and even rodents can all be on the menu, depending on what is available. A leopard is not picky in the same way a lion might be. It takes what it can catch. It often hunts alone, and that fits its style. Solitary life gives it freedom. No need to share, no need to announce itself. A leopard can spend hours resting in a tree fork or lying in shade so deep that only the blink of an eye gives it away. When evening comes, it becomes more active. The air cools, the grass stirs, and the cat begins to move. Those long whiskers and sharp senses help it read the world around it. A snapped twig, a rustle in dry leaves, a scent drifting on the wind. That is all it may need. Female leopards raise the young mostly on their own. A mother will hide her cubs in dense cover or rocky shelter and move them often because danger is always close. Lions may kill leopard cubs. Hyenas may steal food. Even other leopards can be a threat. So the mother works quietly, teaching the cubs how to stalk, how to climb, and how to stay still when needed. The cubs stay with her for many months before they are ready to go their own way. Leopards matter because they help keep animal numbers in check. They take weak, young, or careless prey, and that helps shape the health of the land around them. They also give us a clue about how well a habitat is holding together. If leopards are still living in a place, there is usually enough cover, enough prey, and enough room for a predator that needs privacy. But they do face trouble. Habitat loss, conflict with people, and shrinking wild spaces can all make life harder. In some areas, protected parks and better coexistence with local communities are helping them hang on. There is something almost private about a leopard. It belongs to the savanna, yet it always seems to be just a little apart from it, like a secret moving through the grass. The first thing you notice is the rhythm. Hooves thudding over hard ground, tails flicking, ears turning at every little sound. Then a flash of black and white cuts through the grass, and the whole scene seems to brighten. On the African savanna, zebra bring a kind of steady motion to the day. Always alert, always on the move, zebra live in open grasslands and broad savannas across much of eastern and southern Africa, right alongside animals like warthogs, lions, cheetahs, hyenas, elephants, and giraffes. They are built for life in the open, where danger can come from almost anywhere. Their stripes are not just striking to us. They help hide an individual in a moving crowd, especially when the herd is shifting and turning all at once. Up close, a zebra has the sturdy body of a horse, but with a more compact frame and a little more toughness in the shoulders and neck. The mane stands upright like a short brush, and the tail ends in a dark tuft that swishes away flies. Those famous stripes run across the body, legs, and even the face, though the pattern can vary from one zebra to another. No two are exactly the same. That striped coat is the first thing people notice, but there is more to a zebra than its markings. It is a strong, alert grazer that has to live with constant watchfulness. Zebras spend much of their day feeding. They crop grass close to the ground, moving steadily from one patch to the next. They are not picky in the way some grazers are, and that helps them in a dry place where fresh growth can be scattered and uneven. Early in the morning and later in the day, they may travel with other herbivores in loose, busy groups, all headed toward better feeding spots or water. Their teeth are made for grinding tough grass, and that steady chewing is part of the sound of the savanna itself. They also drink often when water is available, and that can bring them into the same places as warthogs, buffalo, and crocodiles. A water hole is useful, but it can be risky. Zebra have to stay alert while they drink, with heads down only for a moment before coming up again to scan the grass and trees. When they run, they can really move. Their speed, sharp turns, and strong kicks help them escape trouble. A surprised predator can lose its chance in a heartbeat if the herd breaks and twists in the open. Family life matters a great deal to zebra. They usually live in social groups, and those groups help many eyes watch for danger. Stallions may guard a herd, and mothers stay close to their foals. The young can stand and follow soon after birth, which is vital in a land full of hunters. Foals recognize their mothers by sound, scent, and touch, and the herd keeps close contact with snorts, calls, and body language. A zebra group is not just a crowd of striped backs, it is a moving safety net. At the same time, zebras depend on the wider world around them. Their grazing helps shape the grass, which can affect where other animals feed. They are also an important part of the food web, giving lions, hyenas, and other hunters a chance to survive. Without animals like zebra, the savanna would feel emptier and less connected. In many places, habitat loss and conflict with people have made life harder, but protected parks and reserves still give them room to roam. That matters because a healthy savanna needs its grazers as much as it needs its predators. And when you see a zebra herd move across the grass, you understand why. They bring energy, caution, and a quiet kind of grace to the open plain. They look like motion itself, striped and steady under the African sun. The ground can seem quiet at first, just dry grass, cracked earth, and a few thorn trees bending in the heat. But then comes a low rumble, so deep you feel it more than hear it. Dust stirs, branches tremble, and out steps one of the biggest animals on the savanna. The African elephant shares this country with warthogs, lions, hyenas, cheetahs, crocodiles, buffalo, leopards, zebras, and giraffes. It lives across much of sub-Saharan Africa, wherever there is enough food, water, and room to roam. And if you spend any time watching it, one thing becomes clear right away. This animal does not just pass through the landscape, it shapes it. An elephant is hard to forget once you have seen one close up. The ears are huge, like broad fans, and they help cool the body in the hot sun. The skin looks rough and wrinkled, almost like an old tree trunk. But if you watch carefully, you see it is very sensitive. The trunk is the real wonder. It can gather a mouthful of grass, strip leaves from a branch, spray dust, drink water, and even greet another elephant with a gentle touch. At the end are two finger-like tips that let it pick up surprisingly small things. Those tusks catch the eye too. They are more than decoration. They help with digging for water, stripping bark, and moving branches aside. An elephant's eyes are small compared with the rest of it, but they miss little. And when the whole animal shifts its weight and starts walking, the movement is steady and calm, almost like a living hill, deciding to travel. Most of the day, elephants are busy eating. A lot of it. Grass, leaves, bark, roots, fruit, whatever the season offers. They use their trunks to reach high or low, and their strong teeth grind tough plants that many other animals cannot handle. In dry country, that matters. An elephant can open up paths through thick bush and knock over dead trees. That may look rough, but it creates room for smaller animals and fresh growth after the rains. They also travel far, often in family groups led by older females. These herds know the land well. They remember where water was found in a dry year and which shade trees offer relief in the hottest hours. Calves stay close to their mothers and aunts, learning by watching and following. When the group feels safe, you may see them touching with trunks, rumbling softly, or pausing shoulder to shoulder like old friends resting together. Elephants matter in a big way. They help spread seeds, open up paths, and keep some areas from becoming too closed in with brush. Plenty of other animals benefit from that. Even a warthog can take advantage of a trail an elephant has cleared. But elephants also face real pressure. Habitat is shrinking in many places, and conflict with people can happen when they move through farms or villages. The good news is that protected areas, careful planning, and dedicated rangers are helping in many regions. So when an elephant appears on the savanna, it changes the mood of the whole place. Everything seems to make a little more sense around it. And for a moment, the land feels older, wider, and full of memory. A low sound rolls out of the grass before you see a thing. It starts as a rumble, then turns into a deep, rough call that carries across the open plains. The air smells of dust, warm earth, and the faint musk of a cat that has spent all day resting in the shade. Then, at last, a golden shape lifts its head and watches the savanna with steady eyes. This is the lion, one of the most powerful hunters of the African grasslands. Lions live in prides, usually made up of related females, their young, and a few adult males. On these wide open plains, a lion has to know when to move, when to wait, and when to let the cover of grass do the work. At first glance, a lion can seem almost simple. Big body, strong shoulders, heavy paws. But the details tell the story. A male's mane frames his face like a thick, dark collar, and it can make him look even larger than he already is. Females are sleeker, built for speed and teamwork, with coats that blend in beautifully with dry grass and pale dirt. Their color is not bright gold by chance. It helps them disappear when they crouch low and move carefully through the open country. Look closely at the face. The eyes are set forward, focused and calm. The nose is wide. The whiskers fan out from the muzzle, and those ears are always working, turning toward the smallest rustle. A lion's body is made for power. The chest is broad. The legs are strong. The neck and shoulders carry a lot of muscle, which helps when bringing down large animals. Even lying still, a lion looks ready for action, like a spring pulled tight. But lions do not spend every hour chasing prey. In fact, they rest a great deal, especially in the heat of the day. They save their energy for the cooler hours, often moving more at dawn, dusk, and through the night. In the open savanna, that makes sense. The sun can be punishing, and a long hunt under a hot sky can drain even the strongest cat. So lions often wait in the shade of an acacia or a clump of grass, then rise when the light softens. When they hunt, teamwork matters. Lionesses often do most of the hunting, using quiet movement and patience. They may spread out and try to guide prey toward each other. That kind of planning is useful on land filled with alert animals like zebras, buffalo, and warthogs. A warthog, for example, may look clumsy at first, but it can turn fast and sprint into thick cover. Lions know that. They read the land, the wind, and the movement of every nearby animal. Meals are not always easy to come by. A lion may feed on a fresh kill, share with pride mates, or lose a meal to bigger rivals. Hyenas are quick to steal when they get the chance. Leopards may drag smaller kills into trees. Even elephants and buffalo can push lions away if they feel threatened. So a lion's life is not only about strength, it is also about timing and judgment. The pride is the heart of lion life. Adult females often stay with the group they were born into, and the young grow up surrounded by aunts, mothers, and siblings. Cubs tumble, paw at one another, and learn by watching the adults. They practice the quick little bites and pounces they will need later in life. Males come and go more often, and their place in the pride can change over time. Their roars help announce who belongs and who should keep moving. Those roars are one of the great sounds of the savanna. They can carry far across the grasslands, especially at night when everything else feels still. A roar tells other lions, "This is our place." It can also bring the pride back together after time spent apart. In a land as open as this, sound matters. A lion does not always need to be seen to be felt. Lions matter because they help keep the numbers of large grazing animals in check. They usually go after the weak, old, or unlucky, which helps shape the health of the herds. Without lions, the whole rhythm of the grasslands could shift. The savanna would not stop breathing, of course, but it would change in ways that ripple through many other animals. Today, lions still hold on in protected places, but they face real pressure from habitat loss and conflict with people and livestock. Conservation areas, local ranges, and safer ways for people and wildlife to share the land are helping in some places. For many people, the lion is the symbol of the African plains. But out here, it is also simply another survivor, built for patience, power, and life under an open sky. And when that deep call rises at dusk, the whole savanna seems to listen. The water's edge can look peaceful from a distance, but step closer and you notice the clues right away. A floating log with eyes, a ripple that vanishes too fast, a low ancient shape resting just below the mud-dark surface. This is where the Nile crocodile waits and where every thirsty animal has to make a careful choice. Nile crocodiles live along rivers, lakes, and waterholes across much of Africa, including the savannas in this episode. They are among the largest reptiles in the world, and they have been doing this same patient hunting style for a very long time. A Nile crocodile is built like a living trap. The body is armored and heavy, with rough, bony plates along the back and a long tail that can whip through the water with real force. The head is broad, the eyes sit high, and the nostrils stay just above the surface, so the animal can watch and breathe while nearly everything else stays hidden. From the bank, you may only see a ridge of dark skin and a pair of unblinking eyes. That is often enough to make every nearby animal think twice. Its color helps it blend in too. Young crocodiles can show more noticeable patterning, while adults often darken into a muddy brown or olive tone that disappears nicely against silt and reeds. In bright sun, the skin can look dry and almost rough, like old leather. Up close, though, it is a machine built for water. The legs are short and strong, tucked close to the body. The feet are partly webbed, which helps with swimming, even if they look awkward on land. The mouth is what most people notice first. It is long and full of sharp teeth, with some of the biggest jaw muscles in the reptile world. The interesting thing is that the crocodile does not chew like a lion or a hyena. It grabs, twists, and holds. If it catches something, that prey is in real trouble. Its bite is powerful enough to handle struggling animals that come too close to drink. Nile crocodiles spend much of the day waiting. That may sound simple, but for them, waiting is the job. They lie still in the water or on the muddy bank, conserving energy with only tiny movements of the head or tail. When the heat rises, they may slide into deeper water to cool off. When a herd comes down to drink, the crocodile stays as still as a sunken branch and lets the moment come to it. They are not picky eaters. Fish are an important part of the diet, especially for smaller crocodiles. Larger ones can take birds, turtles, and mammals that come to the water's edge. They are drawn to weak, careless, or isolated animals. A zebra with one foot in the water, a young antelope lagging behind, even a buffalo that strays too close, can all become tempting targets. That is why waterholes are such tense places in the dry season. Everyone needs water, but water can be dangerous. On land, a crocodile can look almost clumsy. The belly stays low, the tail drags, and the movement is a strange sideways crawl. But do not let that fool you. They can surge forward quickly in a short burst when they need to. In the water, they are far more graceful. There, the body seems to vanish, and the tail does most of the work. A silent slide, a sudden strike, and a huge amount of force arrive all at once. Family life for a crocodile begins with a surprising amount of care. The female lays eggs in a nest made from plants and soil, usually close to water. She does not just walk away. She stays near the nest and watches for danger. When the eggs hatch, the babies call out from inside the eggs, and the mother helps dig them out. She may even carry them gently in her mouth to the water. That may sound dangerous, but for a crocodile, it is a careful kind of gentleness. Young crocodiles face a hard start. Many are eaten by birds, monitor lizards, fish, larger crocodiles, and other predators. So the mother's protection matters a great deal in the early days. Even then, the young must stay alert. They use shallow water, weeds and muddy edges as cover, and they learn fast that survival depends on staying small and staying hidden. Crocodiles also play an important role in these waterways. They help keep populations of fish and other animals in check, and they clean up dead animals that would otherwise linger in the heat. In that way, they are part of the rough housekeeping of the river and the waterhole. People sometimes fear them, and that fear is understandable, especially in places where livestock or people use the same water. But crocodiles are also a sign that the water system is still healthy enough to support them. Protected areas and careful management help keep that true. There is something timeless about seeing a crocodile in the savannah. It reminds us that not every danger roars or chases. Some just wait, half hidden, as old as the mud itself. And then one afternoon, the waiting pays off. The heat has settled hard over the waterhole. The air shimmers. A band of zebra gathers at the muddy bank, side by side, tossing their heads and flicking their tails. Nearby, a few Cape buffalo stand chest deep in the shallows, snorting and shifting their weight. Everything seems quiet, but quiet is exactly what makes everyone nervous. At the edge just below the surface, a Nile crocodile lies still. Only the eyes show. Only the ridge of the back breaks the water. A zebra steps closer to drink. Stops. Lifts its head. The buffalo watch from the side, bulky and alert. A young animal from the herd inches nearer than it should. Then the water moves. A sudden surge, a sharp splash. Heads lift everywhere. Hooves kick mud. One animal stumbles back, another wheels away, and the whole bank erupts in a rush of fear and noise. The crocodile is gone as quickly as it appeared, dragged back into deeper water by its own power and the confusion it created. A moment later, stillness returns. The herd stands scattered, but intact. The crocodile is once again just a shape beneath the surface. That is the story here. Not triumph, not defeat, just the constant negotiation between hunger and caution at the edge of the water. By the time you reach the water, the whole savanna seems to change its voice. The dry grass gives way to damp earth, and the air carries that sharp, muddy smell that clings to your shoes long after you leave. Birds chatter from the reeds, frogs call from hidden pools, and every set of tracks on the bank tells a little story. This is the kind of place where life gathers, even in the heat. In the dry season, the waterhole becomes a meeting point for all sorts of animals from this episode. Warthogs, zebras, giraffes, buffalo, even the occasional lion, leopard, or hyena slipping in for a drink or an easy chance. The banks turn soft and churned up, while the open water stays still and dark, like a mirror, broken only by ripples. By late afternoon, the whole place feels watchful. Every drink comes with a pause, a look around, and a quick step back into the grass. The ground can seem quiet out here, but then the whole scene changes with a snort, a low grunt, and the slap of heavy hooves in dry grass. Dust lifts in the heat, ears flick, and a dark shape pushes forward like a moving wall. That is where the Cape buffalo comes in. Cape buffalo live in grasslands, open woodland, and near water across much of sub-Saharan Africa. They are one of the most common large grazers on the savanna, and they are known for their tough, no-nonsense temper. They do not back down easily, and that matters in a place where lions, hyenas, and crocodiles are always close by. At first glance, a Cape buffalo might seem built like a bulky cow from a different world, but spend a little time with them, and you start to see how much power is packed into that frame. Their bodies are solid and deep-chested, with thick legs that can carry a heavy animal across rough ground. The coat is usually dark, almost black, but it can look browner in bright sun and dust. Older bulls often carry heavy horns that curve outward and then inward toward the middle, forming that famous boss across the forehead. It gives the head a wide, armored look, as if the animal is wearing its own built-in shield. Those horns are not just for show. They help a buffalo defend itself against predators and settle tense moments within the herd. Even the face feels serious. The eyes sit low and steady. The ears twitch at every sound. The muzzle is broad and built for cropping grass close to the ground. When a buffalo lowers its head, there is no mistaking the message. Cape buffaloes spend most of their time grazing. They move slowly through the grass, ripping up mouthfuls with strong tongues and broad teeth. In the early morning and again later in the day, they may cover a lot of ground as they search for fresh feeding spots. During the hotter hours, they rest in shade or stand in mud and dust to keep insects off and cool their skin. Water is important, so you often find them near rivers, pans, and muddy banks. They drink often, and they travel with purpose when the herd needs a new place to feed. Their lives are built around the herd. Safety comes from numbers. A buffalo herd can include mothers, calves, young bulls, and older animals all moving together. They keep close, and when danger shows up, the whole group can shift at once. Calves stay near the center, where there is a little more protection. Adults keep watch from the edges. If a lion gets too bold, buffalo do not always run. Sometimes they face the threat together, heads down, ready to charge if they have to. That kind of courage is one reason lions respect them so much. Buffalo also talk to one another in small ways. A flick of the tail, a shake of the head, a snort that warns the herd to pay attention. You can feel the tension in a group even when nothing obvious is happening. They are always reading the world. Grass moving, birds lifting, the distant cry of a predator. It all matters. Cape buffalo are important grazers. By feeding on grass, they help shape the land and keep some areas open. They also feed large predators, which means they are part of the food chain in a very direct way. Where buffalo herds are healthy, the whole system tends to have more life in it. But they need room to roam, and they can run into trouble when land is fenced off or crowded by people and livestock. In some places, disease and habitat loss are real concerns. Protected parks and careful management have helped many herds remain strong, though, and that gives hope. There is something steady and grounded about a Cape buffalo. They remind us that survival on the Savanna is not always about speed. Sometimes it is about grit, loyalty, and standing your ground. Then, all at once, the stillness breaks. A burst of speed, dry grass bending flat, dust lifting in little clouds behind flashing legs. On the open savanna, there is no room for hesitation and no room for waste. The cheetah lives here, in the grasslands and open plains of Africa, where it has space to run and space to see danger coming. It is the fastest land animal on Earth, built for quick chases rather than long battles. That speed shapes almost everything it does. At first glance, a cheetah is easy to spot if you know what to look for. Its body is slim and light, like a runner built by hand for one job. The coat is covered in small black spots, not the large rosettes of a leopard. A dark line runs from the eyes down the sides of the mouth, almost like tears, and those marks give the face a serious, almost worried look. Those tear marks are not just for show. They help cut down glare from the bright African sun, almost like dark streaks under a ball player's eyes. The head is small, the chest deep, and the legs are long and springy. The tail is also long, and it acts like a steering wheel when the cheetah makes a sharp turn at full speed. Every part of this cat seems built to help it stay balanced while chasing prey across open ground. Cheetahs usually hunt in the daylight, often in the cooler hours of morning or late afternoon. They rely on sight more than smell, so they spend a lot of time scanning the grass, looking for movement. A cheetah will creep close to a herd or a lone antelope, then launch into a short, explosive run. It does not chase forever. It cannot. The body gets hot fast, and the sprint is over in a hurry one way or another. That is why the cheetah needs open land. Thick brush can hide its prey, but it also blocks its run. In these broad grasslands, a cheetah can use its speed the way a fisherman uses a cast line, quick, precise, and aimed at one clean chance. It eats smaller antelope, young animals, and other prey it can catch without a long fight. Life for a cheetah is not easy though. A successful hunt can still be stolen by stronger animals like lions, hyenas, or even leopards. So a cheetah often eats quickly and stays alert, always watching the horizon. Mothers raise their cubs alone, and those cubs face a hard start. They are hidden in tall grass, moved from place to place, and taught to stay quiet and low. That family life matters. Young cheetahs learn by watching their mother's every move. They learn to stalk, to freeze, to read the wind, and to avoid bigger trouble. Even with all that skill, cheetahs remain vulnerable because they need so much space. When land is broken up by farms, roads, and fences, they lose the room they need to hunt and raise young. Conflict with people can also be a problem when cheetahs take livestock. Still, there is hope. In many protected places, rangers and researchers are working to keep enough open habitat for these cats to survive. When the grasslands stay healthy, cheetahs can keep doing what they do best, moving like a whisper, then a bolt of lightning. And that is the quiet wonder of the cheetah. It is a hunter made for speed, living on a landscape that never lets its guard down. By late afternoon, the savanna can change in a heartbeat. The heat softens, shadows stretch long, and every little sound seems louder than it was a moment ago. A rustle in the grass, a sudden call from a nearby tree. Then a nervous stillness that says something is close, even if you cannot see it yet. This is where the warthog lives its busy, bumpy life. From open grassland to thorny acacia country and the muddy edges of waterholes. It is one of the most familiar faces on the African savanna and one of the toughest. Those curved tusks are not just for show. They help with digging, defense, and a whole lot of daily survival. A warthog's first defense is usually speed. Its second is a quick turn, tusks forward, ready to stand its ground if it has to. Look closely, and the warthog has a look all its own. That broad, flat face, the big head, the sharp little eyes set low to the ground, and those wart-like bumps on the face that give it its name. Its body is sturdy and lean, built more for quick bursts and sharp turns than for elegance. The mane along its back can stand up like a brush when it gets alarmed. Its tail is thin and straight, often lifted high like a little flag when it runs. Those tusks are the most dramatic part. They curve upward and grow from the mouth with time, and they are used by both males and females. A warthog can look awkward at a distance, almost comic in the way it trots with its snout low and tail high. But that look hides a very practical animal. It is made for life in rough country. It can kneel down on its front legs while feeding, which helps it graze close to the ground or dig for roots and bulbs. And it has a thick hide that offers some protection when it pushes through thorny brush. Warthogs spend a lot of their day eating because they need to keep moving and feeding to make life work in a place where food changes with the seasons. They graze on grasses when they can, but they also dig up roots, bulbs, and tubers with surprising skill. In dry times, those buried foods can mean the difference between getting by and going hungry. They often feed with their snouts close to the earth, shuffling forward in little bursts, then pausing to listen. Even their homes are simple and smart. Warthogs often use burrows dug by other animals, especially during the hottest part of the day or when danger is near. They can back into a burrow fast, facing outward, tusks ready. That way, if a lion or hyena shows up, they do not have to turn around to defend themselves. It is a small detail, but it tells you a lot about their style. They do not look for trouble, but they are ready for it. These animals are usually seen in small family groups, often with females and their young. Males may live more alone or in looser company. The family bond matters, especially for the little ones, who are vulnerable when they are still tiny. Piglets stay close to their mothers and learn quickly where to feed, when to run, and where to hide. A mother warthog can be very alert around her young. She is watchful in that calm, practical way many savanna mothers are. She feeds, she listens, she moves. She never seems to waste emotion. Warthogs also talk a lot without making a big scene. They grunt, snort, and squeal. A quick sound can send the whole group hurrying for cover. And they are often active in the cooler parts of the day, especially morning and late afternoon, when the savanna is easier to work than in the harsh midday heat. At night, they usually retreat to a burrow, safe from many of the animals that hunt in the dark. They matter more than you might think at first glance. Warthogs dig into the ground and turn it over, which can help shape the land around them. They also spread seeds and keep plant growth in check by grazing. And they are part of the food web that keeps the savanna alive. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and crocodiles all take them when they can. Take away the warthog, and a lot of other animals lose an important meal. The whole system feels it. Warthogs are not the rarest animals on the savanna, but they still depend on healthy habitat. Fences, habitat loss, and growing pressure from people can make life harder for them and for the predators that hunt them. Protected parks and wildlife areas help keep these everyday survivors in the picture. So maybe that is the real charm of the warthog. It is not polished, it is not graceful, but it is clever, tough, and perfectly suited to a hard land that never makes promises for long. And once you have watched one trot off through the grass, tail straight up, it is hard to forget it. On a hot afternoon near the waterhole, the whole savanna seems to hold its breath. The air shimmers above the mud. A warthog family comes in low and careful, snouts twitching, ears turning at every sound. They need water, but they know they are not alone. Close by, a lion lies in the shade, half hidden in tawny grass, not moving, just watching. Across the open bank, a spotted hyena lopes along the edge, nose down, reading the ground like a story. And farther out, a cheetah lifts its head from the grass, lean and alert, weighing the same chance that every hunter here is watching for. The warthogs know the rules. Drink fast. Stay near the cover. Never let the distance to safety get too wide. One piglet strays a little too far from the group. A mother warthog gives a sharp grunt. The piglet freezes. The adults bunch closer. For a moment, everything feels still, except for the flick of ears and the beat of a tail. Then the lion shifts in the grass. Just a small movement, but it changes everything. The warthogs burst forward all at once, not in panic, in a practiced rush. Dust rises behind them. The piglets hug the line of the adults, and the whole family cuts toward the nearest brush with surprising speed. The lion does not follow. The hyena keeps its distance. The cheetah stays where it is, knowing this chase is not the easy kind. At the water's edge, danger and need live side by side. That is the savanna in a single moment. One animal comes to drink. Another waits to hunt. And life, for a breath or two, hangs right there in the balance. From the open grasslands to the shady acacia groves and the muddy edges of the waterhole, this savanna has shown us a place that never really rests. Every animal here is part of the same daily conversation. A warthog roots in the soil, a lion watches from the grass, hyenas move through the woodland, and elephants, cheetahs, crocodiles, buffalo, leopards, zebras, and giraffes all leave their own mark on the land. What stands out most is how closely their lives touch. The warthog has to stay alert, but so does everyone else. One animal's feeding spot becomes another animal's hunting ground. One muddy bank can turn into a drinking place, a crossing, or a trap. That is what makes this place so alive. Nothing happens in isolation. Every call, every hoofprint, every swish of tail matters. And that is why these savannas need care. Protected lands, good ranger work, and local communities all help keep this web strong. When people look after the grasslands, the animals keep their room to move, feed, and raise their young. That helps the whole place stay healthy. Thanks for spending this time on the savanna with us. If you enjoyed the journey, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. And let us know in the comments which animal you would most like to see next. Until then, may the next patch of wild ground you see remind you how much life can fit into one open horizon.